Seems like you're on a real Jersey Devil kick recently.
Well, yes, Ted, I am. I've been using the Jersey Devil in several other games, but not in D&D yet. So let's stat the Jersey Devil for Dungeons & Dragons.
I'm Nerdarchy Ted.
I'm Nerdarchy Steve. Welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds.
Now let's see if the devil really is in the details.
So we have an idea for a new series where we want to take a look at different cryptids, urban legends, from pop, or even from pop culture, and turn them into D&D monsters. We want the D&D eyes of these monsters, and then stat them out. Do the stat blocks over on D&D Beyond, and then we can put the links down in the description so that you can check it out and see what we came up with. Like here in the video itself, we'll just do more like theory craft than more than anything, and less about the hard details. And then afterwards, we'll go back and we'll go, okay, from the discussion we had, and what do we think this would be, and we'll stat it out, and then you can see what we actually came up with that link in the description.
All right, now because we're from New Jersey, the Jersey Devil felt like, the ideal monster to kind of start off with this. And all of this just started off with the fact that, as we mentioned kind of in that opening, that Dave has been talking a lot about the Jersey Devil because it's come up in our home game where we're playing Monster of the Week. And he kind of bookended the campaign with the Jersey Devil, both in session 1 and in the campaign finale, which I thought was really well done. But it got us thinking of like, well, what if we were to kind of take some of those cool elements of what the Jersey Devil is in a world where we already have legit fiends and what have you? Would it become a fiend? Would it become something different and actually make it statted for D&D?
Yeah, it's definitely not the first time we've done videos similar to this. But it'll be the first time we take them and actually stat them and put them over in D&D Beyond for people to check out. I mean, it's only fair to mention that D&D Beyond is a sponsor for the channel as well as this video in particular. Go power up your games with D&D Beyond. There will be a link in the description to check out 1, the monster we make, and 2, D&D Beyond. And I think to look at the homebrew, all you're going to need is a free account to go over there and check it out.
But if you're looking for another way that you want to help out the channel to keep making videos like this, as well as all the great content over on nerdarchy.com, why not come check us out over on Patreon and support us there?
As a special thank you, we make 5e content for both players and DMs alike. We make drop-in encounters you can use right in your games. We make magic items. Sometimes we turn them into print and play magic item cards. There's feats, spells, races, subclasses, and things I'm probably not even thinking about. Hey, you can even get a chance to game with us. We do a monthly fan game over there as well. There will be a link in the description, one of these cards up here as well, for a free Patreon download sampler so you can see what the rewards kind of look like. So the Jersey Devil has been around since 1735, as the lore goes. Anyway, the Jersey Devil was birthed by Mama Leeds, or I believe Jane Leeds is the name that they use often. The father, Daniel Leeds. There's been a lot of conflicting stories. I mean, the legend of the Jersey Devil was around for quite some time before it ever even got penned.
Right.
So as these things go, it's subject to change. But the legend goes that she was pregnant with her 13th child and cursed this one to be a devil. But it was born normal. Beautiful, blue-eyed, blonde-haired baby, but within moments transformed into what we would know as the Jersey Devil, slaying her, the midwives, and then going, into the room with the rest of the children and the husband and slaying them as well.
Yeah, so it was the 13th child of the 13th child, as I remember it, as it's been, kind of told to me, 13 being a super unlucky number. This is an element of, demonic visage, having hooves, horns of a variety of different, makes, depending upon which description you look at, like a kangaroo body, a lizard tail, reddish, fiendish, kind of skin. So there's all kinds of elements that, really attach it to a fiendish nature. But, again, once you kind of strip away our mythos in, the real world and kind of like, well, what would this look like as far as a D&D monster? There's a number of things that are not planar related that this could easily be linked to.
Yeah, I mean, there's several things we can use as well. Like, it's always described as having claws. The head is that of a horse or a goat. You mentioned the horns. Always has bat wings. It flies. It's always been seen flying. It's been shot at by marksmen and shot, and it's never been killed. It's also been known to hang out with undead, as part of the legend as well. The ghost of Captain Kidd is said to have been a friend of the Jersey Devil. But not only that, Captain Kidd also hid some treasure in the Pinelands, and before his demise, what he did was he left one of his crew members with that treasure after beheading them. So there is a headless pirate wandering around protecting this treasure as well. Also known associate of the Jersey Devil.
So a lot of things to kind of attach, and the further out you kind of try to unravel this, the more things that you could kind of have, linked up. As we kind of get into, this idea of cryptids, well, could this be a whole new monster type as opposed to making them be fiends or monstrosities? What if cryptids naturally have some kind of ability to have things that allow them to get away, not be seen, elements of disbelief to them, and kind of get into the idea of what makes something a cryptid, and, attach onto that elements and actual game mechanics of, wisdom saves to see if you actually remember, or, like, oh no, sorry, I forgot. You saw it, you can't remember specific details, and the longer it's been, the less you remember, until it gets to the point where, nah, never even heard of it, or you only have heard of it, you've never seen it.
Well, I don't know if if cryptids need their own monster type. I mean, I feel like a lot of them will fit neatly in the D&D types.
Sure.
Like, to me, the Jersey Devil is clearly a monstrosity. It has a lot of the feel of the Crazy Wizard did it.
Yeah.
Monsters. Also, it's also a cursed creature, essentially. So something was done to it that to me also kind of speaks to the monstrosity side a little bit more than the fiends, or making it its own thing. I mean, cryptid is just kind of a modern term for like pseudo animals or pseudo beasts that aren't really beasts, and maybe they're made up. Maybe there's legends. Clearly, there's plenty of people that claim they've seen them, and there's been sightings. So either that, or they're just the ones that have passed their wisdom save, of going off of that. The Jersey Devil specifically seems to be very long lived, because we're still getting sightings almost 300 years later.
So I definitely like the idea of it being a monstrosity. The fact that it happened in, the Pine Barrens, the Pine Lands, here in Jersey. Like, I could definitely, having spent many hours in the woods in the Pine Barrens, it could definitely be hag territory out there, and hags and monstrosities I know work hand in hand. So there could be elements of, well, perhaps the birthing of this was related to a hag. Maybe there was some other warlocky or hag related nonsense that happened before the child was born, and that is what led it to be created. And perhaps it's not just one Jersey Devil, but there's multiple that have happened throughout, and it's the hags who have actually wound up creating them through these deals that are being made with the husbands. It's like, oh well, what kind of power, what kind of things could the husband get in sacrifice for this this child?
Stop! We have our second Kickstarter ready to go. Check the link in the description.
Add 250 magic item tarot card to your gaming resources right now.
Mageforge are magic items from our very own games and minds, ready to use in your game.
So check it out, back it, follow it, whatever it is that you need to do.
And get on that list. Stay nerdy. So that could factor into the lore when we do it, or we could just go with like the lore as is and be like, oh, this is something that happens when the mother curses their unborn child, right? In a moment of desperation, or despair. Maybe it is a hags. Maybe there are specific hags that hear these curses, and they enact the wishes
What
of these mothers. These twisted wish granters, if you would.
what if the hag is the midwife?
The hag.
What if they pose as midwives and do things to complicate the birth so that these kinds of curses do happen and this type of creature is born, and they're not unique, they're rare, so that you're never going to see more than one at a time. But what if it's to create these things that are then servitile to the hags?
Yeah, like it requires a couple things. It requires maybe the number 13 is significant. I could definitely see that. Hags tend to be either fiends or fae, and so numerology could definitely play a part of it. The number 13 is important. That's one factor. Two, the mother has to curse the unborn child for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And then three, a hag has to be present.
Sure.
In the vicinity to make this all come together, and that's how we get a Jersey Devil. In this case, also the Jersey Devil is needed as the Leeds Devil. So with that, you could really just the Baldur's Gate Devil, or whatever area or whatever family name you wanted to use, you could do that. So now looking at the monster itself, I think we're going to probably end up going with Monstrosity. We may debate back and forth a little bit before we actually do it. We know it's going to have a fly speed because it has wings, and also the Jersey Devil is known to cover a very wide swath of area. It actually doesn't limit itself just to New Jersey. It's been sighted just outside of New York and in Pennsylvania and Philadelphia area as well. So, and it's also known that it likes to hang out near places of water. That's where a lot of the sightings have been.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely a supernatural element to it, because there is a myth or legend that if you find the tracks of the Jersey Devil and you're able to scoop them up preserved and put them in a jar and put that jar under your bed, that will protect you from the Jersey Devil.
So that could be a myth or a false myth.
Yeah.
Could be an element where you think you're protected, but it actually draws its attention. I love those kinds of
Jersey
things.
Devil propaganda started by the Jersey Devil.
Started by the Jersey Devil, or by the hags who kind of use them as servants to some degree. We know that it's got horns and claws, so we know it's going to be a very physical creature. So if it's flying great distances, it's going to be strong, and its attacks are going to be natural. But I also feel that it should be proficient or skilled in some way, shape, or form of getting away, with stealth, invisibility, any of these kinds of things, to have it be not seen when it doesn't want to.
Yeah, it also has a forked tail, so there might be a tail attack in there. And also, it's been noted for its blood-curdling scream. So maybe it has a recharge ability of some kind of scream attack that it can use. Maybe it's a fear effect. I mean, blood curdling to me sounds like a fear effect. So there might be damage associated, but maybe if you're immune to fear, you're immune to the damage as well.
Or it could go in a completely opposite direction of what if its curse of being created during birthing, which unfortunately there's usually a lot of bloodshed in such a process. What if it is bestowed an ability that actually, as opposed to conceptually, oh, it's a blood curdling scream, I'm so scared, of it literally curdles your blood, and it does an area con save necrotic damage.
Yeah, or maybe you could even I would think curdling to me is when things kind of chunk up and solidify. Maybe I should have looked this up beforehand, but what if that were to actually happen to your blood? What would that mean? So maybe necrotic damage on a failed save plus the poison condition could last could last
poisoned or slowed.
Poisoned or slowed. I think poisoned is easier to do though.
Sure.
I like simple mechanics. But yeah, so one of those we could play around with. We can take a look at on a failed save, on a pass save, half damage, and you don't suffer the other effect.
Sure. Yeah.
Slow is pretty brutal too. So I guess it would depend on what challenge rating we wanted to make the Jersey Devil.
Yeah, that is true. I don't see this as like super up there. I don't think this is like, end game kind of material. I mean, there's, if we're going with the concept that this is designed to be servitile to some degree to hags, I like the mid tier, like 7 to 9 kind of angle.
Okay, I was kind of thinking like we can negotiate on something between 7 and 12. We know it's probably, if it doesn't have immunity, it's going to at the very least have resistances
Yes.
to physical damages because we know it's been shot.
I was gonna go there as well. If it's been hit with, bullets or, what have you, it's tough. And, maybe there's, no effect, or maybe it's just straight up of like, nah, I got this. You can shoot me all day. Unless that bullet's blessed, forget it.
Yeah, so definitely gonna have multi-attack. It's gonna have two claw attacks, which might be a little weak because it's got short arms like a T-Rex or a kangaroo, but it's noted they are clawed, so
Right.
definitely something there. It's going to have a gore attack with the horns, I would say. It might have a tail attack with that forked tail of it as well. I mean, and some of these we could like, depending on like how powerful we want it to go. Like if we want it to be a legendary monster, should cryptids be legendary monsters? It depends on which direction you want to go. If you go, it's unique and there's only one, then you might want to go with, oh, this is a legendary monster, would have legendary actions or reactions. So you might put things in like it might have a stomp attack with its hooves, a tail swipe, wing buff. It's things that it could do with those legendary actions that are maybe a little bit outside of the normal stat block.
Exactly.
Which sometimes appears. Maybe we even need to do a variant like this is the Jersey Devil and this is Jersey Devil, right?
Yeah, I actually like that idea as well. It requires definitely a lot more work on our part, but that could be an angle of thought.
The lesser ones, like maybe the first one just came about and it wasn't actually intentional. It's just like these things happen, so that is the most powerful one, and also it's been around a long time.
Sure.
And maybe Jersey Devils don't die of old age. Maybe they get more powerful as they get older, like a dragon almost.
Right.
So we could definitely play with some of those tropes. But the question is, folks, how would you stat the Jersey Devil? Should we stat the Jersey Devil? Do you care? We're statting the Jersey Devil. Either way. But let us know what you think and what cryptid would you want us to do next down in the comments below.
While you're down there, don't forget to do all those things that make Nerdarchy and YouTube happy. Like, share, subscribe, even go ahead and attune to that notification bell.
Quick reminder, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we drop new videos here on the channel, so come on back. But you can't wait till then? No worries, we got you covered. Up here, you can find a card to a playlist called Fast and Dirty Monsters. It's a whole playlist where we just make monsters here live.
So until next time, stay nerdy.